Morning peeps, good morning everyone. All right, let's go through some of the stories and results from the weekend. Before we do that, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. If you guys are new to the channel, don't forget as well to like and share the vids. Thank you very, very much. All right, let's start with this one. It's at Cruz. He gives it a 50-50 shot that the Ryan Garcia fight will happen. Like, a couple of weeks ago, when it was announced that this fight was ordered, it was 100%. Now all of a sudden it's dropping to a 50-50. It's a joke. If this fight doesn't happen, the blame will be put on Ryan Garcia. It just will be. It's at Cruz, we know, will 100% take this fight. It could be down to money. I don't know what's going on. It's just a shame because I think this is a really good fight for Ryan Garcia. Stylistically, I don't think it's a good fight. I just think it's a good fight in him being back in the discussion, the mix. I feel like we've forgotten about him because obviously he had a year out and the Emmanuel Tager fight wasn't much. It was difficult to gauge where he is from that performance. I mean, you beat Isaac Cruz, who we know gave Gervonta Davis hell, coming off this good win against Gamboa as well. He's right back. He's right back. And Isaac Cruz fights one way and it's that way, and that's a difficult style for anyone. And if Ryan Garcia were to outbox him, potentially even stop him, I mean, that's a statement. So, look, it's a massive shame if it doesn't happen. I hope it does, but, I mean, it's at Cruz saying 50-50, there might be a problem there. And I guess it comes down to money. I can't think of, look, Ryan Garcia is not scared of Isaac Cruz and Isaac Cruz is not scared of Ryan Garcia. So, I can only imagine that it comes down to money. Jarrell Miller, his comeback is set for June 25th on Triller. Jermell Miller hasn't boxed obviously since, I can't remember what fight it was what fight he was supposed to have, and then obviously the drug issue popped its ugly head back up again. How old is Jermell Miller, by the way? He has been sparring, or at least he was part of the sparring team for Tyson Fury's fight against Dillian Whyte. Jermell Miller's 33. I don't know, man. I just don't know how I feel about it, if I'm honest with you, but what can you do? I mean, if they've, given him a ban and the ban expires, this is the only way he can eat, right? This is his way of making bread, making money. I mean, who are we? Who are we to stop him? I mean, I'm not sure. I don't even know how good he is. Like, honestly, I don't know if you guys remember when Jerome Miller fought, who did he fight? And he had the highest punch output, I think, of any heavyweight in history. That should have been fucking alarm bells then. I know what fight it was. Let me see if I can bring it up because I remember it. It would have been against, was it Bogdan Dinu? It might have been Bogdan Dinu. It might have been. Highest output ever. Go and check the stats. It was ridiculous. That should have been like, okay, we have a problem. This guy is fucking huge, massive, and he's got the highest output of any heavyweight ever, I think. It was something like that anyway. But yeah, that should have been alarm bells, but it wasn't. He fucked up, got the AJ fight. Like, he fucked up big time. He's not fought since 2018. So by the time he comes back, it would have been 4 years out the ring. So let's just see. I mean, he's a name, so if he gets a good win, there's no doubt, they'll be putting him in or, trying to arrange big fights for him. So we'll see. Sergey Kovalev came back, talking about fighters coming back off a long layoff. Kovalev, who haven't fought since he got slept by Canelo, he came back. He's a cruiserweight now. He boxed Jermell Pulev to a points win. I mean, he said after that, he was a bit heavy. I think he was in the ring about 196. He says he wants to come a few pounds lighter so he can get his speed back. The fact is, Kovalev is, 38, 39. He's no longer that guy. He's no longer that guy. I mean, and it's not even an age thing. It's not because, I think we've seen with fighters in the past, you can still be sharp and about your boxing ability at that age, but he's not that guy. And going up to cruiserweight, he's definitely not going to be that guy either. I wonder if he still has that punch power to deter some of the cruiserweights. I don't even know if he has that. I'm not quite sure if he has that either. He's still got a great jab, did a good mover. Yeah, I'm not quite sure what he wants to achieve as a cruiserweight because those guys are heavyweights coming down. They're just far too big for him. So we'll see. But look, regardless, it is good. I think, to see Sergey Kovalev back in the ring. Eddie Hearn says Canelo Golovkin 3 is bigger now after Canelo lost to Bivol. I don't know about that. Does he mean bigger as in financially? I'm not quite sure. That sounds like maybe they are going to go the Golovkin route. I mean, we haven't heard anything. It's been, well, it's not been that long. It's been over a week at least since that fight against Bivol. We'll see what happens. I mean, look, those are the only two options. It's going to be Golovkin 3 or Bivol 2. I like the Canelo-Golovkin fight more than I like the Canelo-Bivol fight. I think Bivol just beats him again, if I'm honest with you. But the ego in Canelo says he will run it back and run it back at 175, although Bivol's given him the opportunity to run it back at 168. I think Golovkin looked okay in portions against Murata. Look, in the end of the day, went through the gears and got the job done. That was at 160. I'm not sure what Golovkin can do to stop Canelo, if I'm honest with you. I mean, we've seen Pete Golovkin not been able to put a dent in him. Beat him, I thought, but not put a dent in him. I don't know what this Golovkin at 40 can do. Anyway, Jermell Charlo, the big fight on the weekend with Jermell Charlo versus Brian Castano. Jermell Charlo this time getting the stoppage victory. Still having to fight through a whirlwind just because Castano, clearly he's like the fucking Duracell man. I mean, when this guy sort of comes onto you, bloody hell, doesn't stop, does he? It's very, very difficult opponent. And look, he will be a world champion. I have no doubt in my mind because he's a very difficult style for a lot of people. But in the end, Jermell Charlo made the adjustments, and that's what the very elite do, make adjustments, and got the win. And I wonder what he's going to do next. In the post-fight press conference, he did talk about his mandatories. And in my head, I'm thinking, you've achieved all you can achieve now at 154. It's time to go up to 160. Like, he clearly makes 154 quite comfortably, and he spoke about this as well. He said sort of, getting down to 152, 153, so he's clearly making it comfortably. But I wonder if it's because his brother's still at 160 and he hasn't moved up to 168, but I still think it's time for him to go to 160. I'd love to see him up there, and there's some names up there as well. I don't know what he can do anymore at 154. That's going to outdo the work he's put in. Let's have a look at his record at 154, and it's very impressive. I think Jermell Charlo is a good fighter. The fights that he struggled in, he's come back, made adjustments, and got the wins. So the Tony Harrison draw, came back, got the win. Again, stoppage. Brian Castano, come back, got the win, made adjustments, stoppage. I'm going to look at his record. This is going way back now. Let's go back to 2014, because this is kind of when he arrived, really. Some people might say Demetrius Hopkins, but I think the Rosado fight. So Rosado, Vans, Julian Jackson, remember that? Stopping him, yeah. Charles Hatley, good win. Lubin, very good win. Austin Trout, back-to-backs against Tony Harrison. Jorge Cota was in the middle, but Harrison. Rosario, Castano, that's fucking solid. That is solid. And for me, it's a pound for pounder. He's a pound. It has to be in your top 10 pound for pound. It just has to be. He has to be. I'm sorry. If he's not, then you have to revisit your pound for pound rankings. He has to be in there. Yeah, and I think that's it for me. I think that's enough now to go up to 160. It's 31. I know he said making 154 is comfortably. He's what, 6'1"? 6'1", 31 years of age. Making 154 isn't going to be easy. And I think it's a time for him to kind of leave the division and let the others scrap out for the belts and him go to 160. There is talks about Tim Tszyu, and the Australian reporter for Fox tried to ask the question. He got blown out. Man, those Charlo press conferences are wild. Like, I feel sorry for anyone that says or tries to say anything remotely negative about the Charlos. You're going to get swallowed in those press conferences. I don't know if I like that. I'm not sure because it's almost like you can't even be semi-objective. You've got to just be pro-Charlos or you're going to get destroyed, which is, I don't think's healthy for the sport. But look, it was a good win against Castano. He needs to get credit for it. Again, it's just the one defeat now, and that's the Tony Harrison, the one draw. That was to Castano. It's a good record. 35-1-1 is very, very good. And I would like to see him go up to 160 and do some damage there, because I think he can. I really do think he can. Kubrat Pulev got a win as well. Some people might say he already had a win after AJ, but do you remember that was against, I can't remember, it was against the former UFC heavyweight champion in that triangle. But this was his first proper win back. He's 35, he's 41, Kubrat Pulev. I don't know what Kubrat Pulev can still do in the heavyweight division. But look, it's a solid win against Jerry Forrest. I'm trying to think who he can fight. I mentioned in the vid I did earlier that he could fight a Martin Bakole. I don't know if he would want to, I don't know what he gets out of a Bakole fight, but then what does he get out of a Jerry Forrest fight? Could fight Chisora. That would be a good fight. I mean, there are fights out there for him. And I think he causes problems to a lot of the guys as well. But look, he says he wants a top 10 contender next. Dillian White? I mean, no? Yay? I mean, it could happen, right? Could happen. Good win for Jaron Ennis. Now he says, look, he wants anyone at 147 pounds. Errol Spence was ringside and he called out Errol Spence as well. The Jaron Ennis thing's interesting, yeah? Because I know a lot of people are very, very high on Jaron Ennis. I am high, but just not as high as some of the other people that think he is the next best thing. And it isn't because he doesn't pass the eye test, because he clearly does. Like, there's no two ways about it. It's because you look at the resume, and this is what we do, right? When you're that good, I need to see you in against an equally A or B level opponent. He hasn't fought that yet. He hasn't fought that. He has done what he should have done to C and B minus guys. He's done what he should have done. And this was the same thing I had against Shakur Stevenson. Shakur passes the eye test. Shakur clearly now is that guy, because we've seen him in against Jamel Herring and we've seen him in against Oscar Valdez. He's passed it. So that's two B, A-level guys. He's done it, so you've passed it. Jaron Ennis hasn't done that yet. But yet people are crowning him as the next best thing. I need to see you in against an A or B level opponent. And this is why it's such a shame that Sean Porter's retired, because Sean Porter's that gatekeeper. Sean Porter tells me you're ready or not. Yordenis Ugas is there. He's going to want, Ugas will take the fight. Keith Thurman. There's fights out there for him that I want to see him in against before we start crowning him the next best thing. But look, he got the win, and it was a good win, and now he wants those fights. He wants those fights. Gilberto Ramirez fought on the weekend as well. Like I said, look, loads of fights on the weekend. I think he's something like 44, 45 and 0, but no one talks about him. No one talks about him at all. We'll see what he can do. Obviously, he's coming up from super middle. I say coming up, he's been at light heavy now for a while, but he was a super middleweight. He wants Dimitri Bivol next. We'll see. Let's be realistic though. If you're Dimitri Bivol, I mean, a fight against Gilberto Ramirez is way down the pecking order. You know, you've got the Canelo rematch, apologies. You've got the winner of Beterbiev versus Joe Smith. Gilberto Ramirez brings nothing to the table for you yet. So I'm not quite sure what he does, but we'll see. This is very interesting. WBC president, no hurry to pressure Tyson Fury to make decision on world title. Why not? Why isn't there any pressure? Tyson Fury says he's retired. He said it in the ring. I interviewed him. He said it to anyone that would listen. He is retired. Take the belts away if he's retired and let number one fight number two. I believe that's Deontay Wilder versus Joe Joyce. Let that happen. Like, is he retired or not? Well, what is this? Why is there no pressure? Someone's told you he's done. Of course he isn't done. That's why. Of course he bloody isn't done. Tyson Fury will fight again. There's no two ways about it. He'll wait to see what happens with AJ versus Usyk, and then he'll decide what he wants to do next. Anything else? Look, there were loads more fights, but guys, I'm sorry, we can't cover everything. It's just not possible. Okay, this is interesting as well. Josh Taylor, stripped of WBA 140-pound title. He said he vacated, stripped, doesn't care. He's no longer undisputed. He's not made the decision to go to 147 yet, has he? Like, it's so weird. Like, It was almost like immediately after the fight, yep, we're going to 147. And now, when was that fight? A few months back? We still don't know what he's doing. Josh should be at 147 now. Josh should be at 147, and that should be the plan. Anything him at 140, just, he's done it. You ticked all the boxes, man. You've become undisputed. Move on. You've had the big fights. Move on to 147, where there are some fantastic fights for you. Fantastic fights. Like, sign me up right now for Josh Taylor versus Jaron Ennis next year. Sign me up right now at 147. Don't sleep on Josh. Don't sleep on Josh because of one bad performance. Sign me up now at 147 for that one. But we'll see. All right, guys, girls, peace and love.